What's good, Steeler Nation? My name is Jack Sperry, and this is Steelers Talk. We got a great show for you today. We're going to be going over all of the overreactions from yesterday's blowout loss to the Buffalo Bills. It's going to be a great show, but before we dive into all the juicy stuff, go and give us a subscribe here at Steelers Talk. We have free and daily videos here on Chat Sports, our Steelers page, so go and give us a subscribe today. Click that big red button. We know that there's about 200 of you guys out there that haven't subscribed to the video yet, so if you haven't yet, go subscribe for daily Steelers content. Okay, let's get into the first overreaction, which is that Mike Tomlin is this team's biggest problem. And in my opinion, my take on this is that it's an overreaction. Mike Tomlin is, you guys know how I feel about Mike Tomlin. I am a believer still, but there are some legitimate criticisms and some things that Tomlin has done that have been very shaky over the last couple years. Let's go into those very valid concerns that a lot of you guys have. The first one is that he's responsible for bringing in Matt Canada, who has been a disaster to this point. He has stood by Canada. He brought him back for this year. And plain simply, Canada has not been successful anywhere that he's been. So there's a big question mark there as to what was Tomlin thinking? Why did he bring him in? It doesn't sound good. That is definitely the biggest criticism that I have of Tomlin right now. The second criticism that I think is absolutely valid is that he has a say in personnel decisions. So he has played a role in this roster's deterioration over the last couple of years. The offensive line isn't as good as it used to be. Linebackers aren't as good. Secondary's not as good. It's just been a complete deterioration in terms of overall talent. And Tomlin does have a say in these types of decisions, so he does bear some of the blame for that as well. And then since he won the Super Bowl back in 2009, February 2009, he's been 5-8 in the playoffs. Like, that's not very good. That's not a very good record. That's a lot of losing in big-time situations, and that's definitely something that gets brought up a lot in Steeler Nation, is that this guy hasn't done anything meaningful since he won that Super Bowl all the way back in 2009 against the Cardinals. But at the same time, I still believe in Mike Tomlin. I have 3 reasons why. I hope you guys will have an open mind here and listen to these. Number one is that he has a proven winning track record. And plain and simply, like, this guy is a straight-up winner. Let's go over his accomplishments throughout his career. Now, I know a lot of people don't like it when people bring up some of these statistics, saying that they don't necessarily matter. But in my opinion, these are relevant statistics. He has a 63.4 career win percentage. Now, what this tells me is that over 15 seasons, now he's in his 16th season, but over the last 15 seasons, he has delivered time and time and time again a winning product for this franchise. And I hear a lot of people talking about how Big Ben Roethlisberger completely saved this guy's career, that he completely made up for all of Tomlin's flaws. But without Big Ben in the lineup, Tomlin actually has a record of 19-19-1, which tells me that Tomlin is actually doing okay, because in most of those games, he's dealing with a backup quarterback, okay? It's just the games in this season where he's had a different starter. In most of those games, Big Ben is the starter, and then you have a bona fide backup playing your games, and he's actually done pretty darn well without Big Ben. So if Big Ben is the one that's completely running the show, completely covering up for Tomlin's flaws, then why is his record pretty decent here without him? And then another thing that I really like about Tomlin is that he has 0 losing seasons over 15 years. Now, I've heard some people, again with the Big Ben thing, saying that Big Ben's the reason why that this team over those 15 seasons never had a losing record. But the thing with that is that when it comes to NFL, or to the NFL, you have to have a good head coach and a good quarterback to have sustained success for that long. If you're going to go 15 years without a losing record, you're going to have a good quarterback and a good head coach. And plain and simply, like Bill Belichick says, good players cannot overcome bad coaching. So the idea that Big Ben could just completely cover up for Tomlin's massive flaws, apparently, I think that that's just a fantasy. And I think at the end of the day, it's a good thing. Now, going on to number 4, 9 double-digit win seasons. Okay, so that's 9 out of 15 years. He's had double digit wins. So he's not just getting to like 500 or just above 500 in these years. He's getting to double digits. And this is getting to the point where he's winning AFC North championships and all these things. And then also he is a proven world champion. I know it was a long time ago. 2009 is over a decade from now. But at the end of the day, he is a proven champion. And at the end of the day, these things are undisputable facts. He's a proven winner, and the numbers bear that out. Number two is that he's a magnetic leader of men. Okay, a big component of being an NFL head coach is earning the respect of the players. And Mike Tomlin, being a former player, is somebody that really knows how to earn the respect from the players. His players adore him. He has full control and respect of that locker room, and that's something that I really appreciate about Mike Tomlin, and that's a big portion of the job, because if you lose the locker room, you're going to lose the season. Okay, guys, I want you guys to let me know if I've convinced you a little bit here. Or if you still believe in Tomlin, type Y in the comments section. And if you still don't think I'm right about this, if you still think that he should be fired or that you don't believe in him moving forward, type N for no. Second overreaction to this game. Matt Canada needs to be fired. And my take on this is that it's kind of reasonable. Okay, Matt Canada has been awful wherever he's gone. Pitt, the Steelers, anywhere that he's been calling plays, the offense has not worked out. And at the end of the day, that is something that it makes you wonder why Mike Tomlin even brought him in the first place. Let's look at some Pittsburgh Steelers team offensive stats here, which really, these suck, man. Yards per play, that shows how well you're driving the ball down the field. 4.8 yards per play. That's number 30 in the National Football League today. And then the two categories I really want to emphasize are red zone TD rate and third down conversion rate, because this shows how well your scheme is working, how well prepared you are to face your opponent and take advantage of their weaknesses in the red zone and on third down. And right now we're ranked 24th and 23rd in the league, and that's not going to cut it. That's not meeting the Pittsburgh Steelers standard. And honestly, right now, I wouldn't mind if they fired Canada today. Now, personally, I wouldn't do that. I would keep the stability for Pickett. And at this point, that's the only reason why I'm keeping him, is to keep a steady foundation for Pickett's rookie season. And I would give him until the bye. If we still don't have a win and the offense is still terrible, I would fire him at the bye and give someone else the bye week to prepare for the second half of the year. So if you think Matt Canada is a fraud that needs to go right now, needs to be out, like this video right now. Okay, my third overreaction to this game is that Kenny Pickett is definitely the future at QB. And my take on this is it's a slight overreaction. It's one game. Yes, it's against a really good defense. He put up some good yards, but a lot of those did come in the second half when the defense was playing back. But at the end of the day, he did show some really good things in the first half as well. He was moving the ball against a really, really good Bills defense in the first half, and Deontay Johnson let him down multiple times in this one. He was putting the ball where it needed to be, and at the end of the day, his adjusted completion percentage in this one was 76%. So pretty much what that means is, so there's regular completion percentage where you throw it, the guy catches it, that counts as a completion, and then everything that hits the ground is not a completion. But adjusted completion percentage, it takes into account drops, like opportunities that were missed by receivers. And when you account for all those things, Pickett was giving his guys opportunities to make play after play. 3/4 of his throws, he was delivering accurate passes, and at the end of the day, the guys just didn't make plays for him. So it's hard for me to blame Pickett for that. And at the end of the day, it was a good day for Kenny Pickett, but he still has a long way to go before he proves that he is the future of the Pittsburgh Steelers at quarterback. Okay, guys, so will Kenny Pickett be a success in the NFL? I want you to let me know what you think. If you think he's going to be a success, type S in the comments. If you think he's a bust and he's not going to be any good, type B for bust. Overreaction number 4 here, Steelers should sign or trade for a cornerback. Now, this is the first one where I'm going to say it's reasonable. Our cornerback situation right now, it's dismal. We got injuries all over the place. We got, Cam Sutton's hurt, Levi Wallace is hurt, Akello Witherspoon is hurt. And, we need to add a guy. We need to add some bodies to this very, very poor cornerback room. Akella Witherspoon, who knows if he's going to play next week. He was out last week with a hamstring. Cam Sutton had a hamstring issue in last week's game. Levi Wallace got a concussion. So those are three of arguably our best corners on this team, and they may be out next week. We got Arthur Mollett, who has been absolutely atrocious so far this year. James Pierre, Josh Jackson, who's slower than freaking molasses. I don't even know why he's on the active roster right now. And then Trey Norwood, who's technically a safety, can play nickel cornerback. In fact, I think he should be starting at nickel quarterback when Edmonds and Fitzpatrick are both healthy. But at the end of the day, we need to add some bodies to this room. Here are some of the cornerbacks that are still available on the free agent market that I like. Richard Sherman. Okay, technically we all know he's on the Thursday night prime crew, pregame, postgame, all these things, but he's technically not retired. Now, is he going to sign with the Steelers, who are 4-1? I highly doubt it. If he signs with anybody, he's going to sign with a contender. But, at the end of the day, the scheme fit works for me. He's said in multiple times in the past how much he respects Tomlin's defense. But at the end of the day, I think he's going to be looking for a contender to go to and not the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are unfortunately 1-4. Then you got A.J. Boye, who's a seasoned vet, played a lot of games in this league, lots of one-on-one coverage. He can play our system, which is why I like him as a potential fit. And then, plain simply, he wants to play right now. He wants to play for a team, and the Steelers are desperate for a corner to come in right away with veteran experience. He could fit the bill. Josh Norman, similar. Really came off, has not played well over the last couple of years. Very gritty type of player, very Pittsburgh Steeler-like, but he's another option that could come in right away and give us some veteran presence. And then Ross Cockrell, who played with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is used to more of a zone scheme. So, in most years, I'd say he's not a real good fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers because in years past, we ran a lot of man-zone concepts, or man-blitz concepts, I should say. But Ross Cockrell, this year we're playing a lot of zone. So Ross Cockrell could seriously be a good fit for the zone type of defense that we're running right now. But let me know in the comments, guys, who should we sign at cornerback, if anyone? Right now we're pretty thin, so I think we're definitely going to sign a corner this week. Somebody, let me know in the comments who you guys think is going to be the next Pittsburgh Steeler cornerback. Okay, so our available salary cap right now is $7.9 million. So maybe we spend a couple million or maybe a couple thousand, hopefully, on a cornerback. Then we can go to possibly a linebacker. Overreaction number 5 is the Steelers should sign or trade for a linebacker. And this is another one where I think it's reasonable. Devin Bush has looked plain and simply atrocious this year. He looks overweight, to be honest with you. He looks slow. He's missing tackles all over the place. He's not grading very well. And neither is Spillane. Spillane hasn't played well either. Miles Jack has been fine, I guess. But we need to bring in another body here in our linebacker room, I think, if we want to really help bolster the run defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here are some names that come up for me when I look at the available linebackers on the free agent market right now. Alexander Johnson has played in a lot of games, right? He played in Vic Fangio's Denver defense for a while, played a lot of snaps. So right now he is clearly the best linebacker option on the free market right now, in my opinion, and I think he's the guy that we should absolutely go get. But there's another guy here, Dante Hightower, another guy that's played a lot of games, but he has regressed heavily. He hasn't really had success in anyone other than Belichick's system. Malcolm Smith played in Cleveland last. He's athletic, but, he's overall not fantastic. And then Anthony Hitchens, who's another guy, another vet that can come in and be solid for us. I think he'd be good. But for me, I would go with Alexander Johnson. So what do you guys think? I want you guys to give me a name of who you think is a linebacker that we could add to replace Devin Bush. And if you think Devin Bush is playing fine, then fine. Overreaction number 6 for me is Pittsburgh should tank for the number 1 pick next offseason. And to me, this is a complete overreaction. This is completely off-brand from what the Pittsburgh Steelers are. Not only is it against league rules to tank, but it completely goes against the mantra of the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is that we are the standard. And, even though we might not be the standard in terms of our play right now, the standard, I think it goes beyond that, respecting the game, all these sorts of things. We are the Pittsburgh Steelers. We don't tank. We play to win no matter what. And to me, that's just the way I'm always going to feel about it. I don't care if, if we have to draft a couple spots later. We're probably not taking a quarterback in next year's draft anyway. So we don't need to be picking number 1 or number 2, and we definitely don't need to be just throwing away the rest of our games and essentially cheating by league rules in order to do it. I think that when TJ Watt comes back, we're going to be able to do some good things on defense. Kenny Pickett and the offense looked better last week. I think as the season goes on, we're going to be looking better by the end of the year. And although this may end up being a rebuilding year for the Steelers, I think by year's end, we're going to be looking towards the future with a lot of hope. Okay, guys, this is the part in the show where I ask you to go follow me on Twitter. I put a ton of Steelers stuff up there. I do Kenny Pickett, all 22 film analysis on there. So if you like that sort of thing, if you like to get into the nitty-gritty of the finer details of the game, go follow me on Twitter. I also live tweet every single Pittsburgh Steelers game. So if you can't wait for the post-game reaction here on YouTube, go follow me on Twitter and get my live reactions to the game as it's happening. Okay, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all the love, Steeler Nation, and until next time, peace.